Hello again, I'm Hayley Jane at the Big Condo Records podcast, and today we have the wonderful Phil Beale. He is a director at the Big Condo and he is also a singer-songwriter. Phil,
I am.
welcome.
And thank you. Hello. Great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
We want to know your story, Phil. What's going on?
What's going on?
Yeah. Where have you come from?
Where have I come? I come from Birmingham, mate.
Come from Birmingham. I love that accent. I love accents. I think I've done your accent a few times when I'm here. It's never like taking the pee. It's just like, I just love it. Yeah.
Doesn't worry me.
Yeah.
No, I came up to Liverpool, which I always thought might be my spiritual home.
It's definitely my spiritual home. I keep coming back. Yeah.
Absolutely. With the lockdown, is how I came to Liverpool, and I've loved it. Absolutely loved it ever since.
Mm-hmm.
And it really was like coming home almost.
Yeah.
I think the Beatles had a big impact on my life, and my mum took my older sister and me to the pictures to see A Hard Day's Night when I was about 5.
Wow.
And I think I was stamped at that point with Scousers and stuff, and the music, obviously. You know.
Yeah. I was going to say, what's your influences from the background? So as young as 5, yeah.
Massively. I was a Beatles nut, and and still am really. Yeah. So that's inspired me to be a musician one way or another.
Yeah. How did you start off with your own journey then? Was you singing first, or did you pick up an instrument?
Always sang, yeah. Always in the school choir and that, and really loved singing. But didn't get a chance really to learn an instrument until quite late in life, really. So I was about 30 by the time I picked a guitar up.
Was any of your family musically?
No, none of them. They're all musical, and I had a great musical background from listening to the stuff that my sister was playing in her bedroom, and being influenced by that. She had great taste in music, and my mum and dad as well. They used to take us to see Oliver and The King and I, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I've always been hugely influenced by music of all types, really. So I'm a big fan of opera and classical music as well as all.
An eclectic taste.
Yeah.
But you didn't actually pick up an instrument yourself till your 30s.
No, that's right. Didn't get a chance really, and really struggled for a while. But then it really started to fly, and ended up joining a band. And I think my ambition really had probably been, I'd always wanted to be on stage in front of a band singing a song that I'd had a part in creating, and that came about, and that was what I did.
Where do you find the creative inspiration to write a song? I'm fascinated how people put music together, like the lyrics and then the beat and the rhythm. It's like, wow, that is fascinating.
Yeah, I met a guy who was a brilliant musician and writer, but he couldn't write words, and I'd always been able to write poetry, for example, from school days onwards, really, and used it often to express my own frustrations or whatever. So he was writing complete pieces, but couldn't write anything that rhymed But I started doing that almost the first time we met. He showed me something that he'd got, played the music. I thought that's great. Showed me the lyrical sheet that he'd got, and I said, well, I can probably tidy that up for you, and started from there.
Yeah.
And
then did you gig with your band?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we started gigging a while after that, and playing our own material, and we got to be known as one of the best bands in Birmingham, playing our own stuff, not just being a covers band, but our own material.
And it's hard to kind of get a following, isn't it? I used to have a boyfriend years ago, and all of their stuff was original material, and he was so worried about getting following and enticing the audience, but because they were so good, it worked, and it's like, oh wow. But it's a different route to, rather than doing covers.
Definitely. And
then how did you find yourself here? You find yourself as a director at the Big Condo?
Well, that of course unfortunately had to be done as a hobby, really, part time, part paid, but not, it's only the buttons, unless you get on the track of success. So it was like that, and I had to do a full-time job. So my career was in IT, and I had a good career. I went to some.
Had a corporate background, you're saying?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I was doing the international travel and company Audi and all that sort of stuff. Family, of course. And I had a good life in that regard. But I always put the suit on. I put my personality for work on with my suit, and I was obviously short tie. Yeah. Everything.
But
in
inside
that world,
you were a rocker.
Well, of course, absolutely. Yeah. Every weekend I'd get my earring in and seriously be me for a couple of days, So it felt quite frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the end, I changed that. I'd been in IT for too long. I'd had enough. So changed tack completely, and I'd always been spiritual. So met somebody else who was highly spiritual, and we decided to create a business together. And so I was retrained to do that sort of work, and was loving it.
And tell them what you do. Tell us what you do. Yeah.
Well, I was a Reiki therapist and a Reiki teacher. Ultimately, I was teaching as well. Yeah, so that was.
Yeah, it's an area that I'm like really interested in.
Yeah. Me too, obviously. You know. So I got deeply held convictions and a belief system, you know, which works for me, and all the stuff we mentioned beforehand, the chakras and all that stuff, and the aura. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But unfortunately, I'd started a business as well, and it was starting to work. But unfortunately, COVID took the legs out from under it and ruined the whole thing, really. So I ended up doing part-time work, which just to get some cash in, and then got quite ill because that was driving me into the ground, really, and got this advert come up on Facebook saying, we've got a course here where you can learn how to record music, create film, create video. And I'm going, what the heck? This is obviously This is obviously a complete scam. But I filled it in anyway with my email address and my phone number and sent it back and thought I'll never hear from that again, you know. And then a few weeks later, this strange voice came on the end of the phone, an American chap. I couldn't hardly understand what he was saying, but I'm trying. What are you saying to me? Where are you from? And I've completely forgotten about it by this point. And it clicked. Oh, I remember. Yeah, he said, well, yeah, you can come down. Like we've fixed this date and to come down and have a chat. And that's when I met the guys for the first time at Big Condo.
Big Condo, big Condo family, and we start courses, don't we? We don't leave. Yeah,
that's right. That's exactly exactly your
similar story to myself after the pandemic. A bit lost. Put myself on a little networking group on social media, and then saw one of their courses that came up, and yeah,
great story, isn't it?
Yeah,
works.
Yeah, definitely.
And then they liked me.
So, and what was that course that you did initially?
That was employability. It was called a digital workshop. And it was great. It was 2 days a week, 4 day, two 4 days a week for 10 weeks. And I felt like I'd found my home again, you know, Liverpool, yeah. And then these guys, amazing. And we got to the end of the 10 weeks. It had come up to Christmas in 2000.
But during the 10 weeks, though, it was an employability course. But what did you learn on the course?
Some of the things that you've been taught, you know, about how to publish music, how to create music. Which I was doing at that point anyway. I'd been creating music for a long time at that point, but I'd never published anything. I'd recorded some stuff, but lots of things about how to create music with the software available, Logic Pro, that sort of thing, studio software, and true employability skills. You know, like how to create a CV, which some of the guys on the course hadn't had in their you know up to that point in their lives. So as much as that, how to create a CV, how to create a digital CV, how to create a video CV, how to stand out from the crowd, do a video CV, send them a bloody video. Wow, what a great idea that is, you know, all this really great stuff. And also truly how you can work in this digital media field and make a living if you want to. Then this is how you do it, you know. So that was part of it. There were mock interviews and all sorts of things like that as well.
And it's so much you can learn within 10 weeks, isn't it? And
fantastic.
Yeah, did you get that feeling at the end, like what we did, like we don't want to leave? Like,
I was devastated. I was literally devastated. I didn't want to go, but I knew that I'd got to go, you know. And then thankfully during the last session, when we were tying everything up and stuff and getting ready for Christmas, because that's when it was in 2021, and Roy pulled me aside and said, I'd like you to do something for me, you know, after the break. I'd like to come and do a music podcast.
Got a knack of doing that, hasn't he?
Exactly. So
when I was saying my goodbyes, was it?
Over the moon. I was absolutely over the moon, you know. So that's where my kind of real time started here.
Yeah. And now you're a director of the company, and you've now also got a teaching qualification. You do bits of teaching.
Yeah, that's right. So as you know, from the Women in Music course, I also teach, which I do really enjoy.
He's one of my mentors. He's really helped push me and encourage me. Like, I feel like a different person. Everyone's mentored us, but yeah, it's been absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Well, you know, you are worth it, and you all are worth it. It's been an amazing experience.
And just listening to all your stories as well, like you've got background, you've got experience, you know what you're talking about, you know what you're doing.
Yeah,
and it was,
that's right.
Yeah, it's fabulous, isn't it?
That's exactly how these guys work, though.
Yeah.
You know, they give people opportunities all the time, every day.
Yeah.
Somebody's being given an opportunity to either to try and fly or fail or whatever it is, you know. But you get the chance.
What's the course that you're teaching at the moment?
At the moment, I'm teaching a radio course, radio production and presenting, which is really interesting, which is something else that I now do, which I didn't expect would ever happen.
When I've spoken to you before, you've said that you're really enjoying this radio presenting.
Love it, absolutely love it, yeah. So it goes out and listening to radio every week, and I do kind of the majority of I select the music and sequence it and stuff like that, and do some of the intros, and it's all pre-recorded, so then we get together before it goes out and we do chats and interviews and interview an artist probably, and then chat together for 10 minutes about what's going on in the world of Big Condo and the touring and the recording and the releases and stuff, and then it goes out, and I'm very proud of that product. It's great.
Can you tell us a little bit about the touring, the experience that you give to the artists? Because I know you're part of the touring. I see you off in different cities each week.
I'm just a roadie, darling.
Well, you're just a roadie, but that's
I never thought that would ever happen, you know, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
And but of course we're all part of the team, aren't we? You know, and I'm there to support them. That's how I see my role with that, which is wonderful.
You've evolved, and it's like it's a fabulous journey that you seem to have gone on. Yeah.
I mean, last year we visited the Hope and Anchor, which may or may not mean anything to you. It probably means a lot to the audience. Hope and Anchor nurtured the Police, U2, in their infancies, bands in the early 70s or from the punk era onwards, really. The Clash, all sorts of acts like that played the Hope and Anchor. Wow. And we went down there on tour, and it was booked as one of the venues, so that for me was like a pilgrimage.
Wow, nice.
To actually drive down there, and it was just wonderful. It was
who were your influences when you were younger?
Musically, me. Well, punk came about when I was 18 years old, so I've been I still am a big, huge Beatles fan. But I progressed into sort of a heavier end of rock music with Zeppelin and people like that. And then punk blew all that away when I was 18 years old. So from that point on, it was the Jam and the Clash and Marley. You know, reggae's a massive thing for me, a really huge passion of mine. And had been right from the start, actually, from the first time I heard probably Desmond Dekker in the 60s, you know. I've always loved reggae. So, those were huge influences. But politically, with the passion that they write with and about modern life and the problems they face, and that was a huge influence on how I wanted to create music and what I wanted to talk about, you know. So all those bands, U2 were a big love. In more recent times, Radiohead came out, and the 90s were a brilliantly creative time. I loved the 90s. In fact, it's probably my favourite decade when obviously Britpop happened. Before that, all the American grunge acts like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and
Chris
all
Cornell.
Those fantastic, Chris Cornell, all those fantastic acts had come out, you know. So in the 90s, I was in my element because that's when my band really started to work. So I was recreating some of those influences and doing some covers and stuff, you know. Yeah. So that was a great time. For my band.
Life without music is just...
unconscionable. Yeah. But what's happened since joining the guys is I've now got published music out there, you know. We've written some great stuff, my bandmate Mick and I, and we're kind of reproducing it and re-recording it in a more modern sense and getting it out there. So there's now Candle Wasters.
What's your band called?
Sorry?
What's your band?
Candle Wasters,
Candle Wasters,
so there are 3 or 4 tracks up on Spotify now. And
what's the influence of the name behind that?
That's Shakespearean. I grew up about 12 miles away from Stratford-on-Avon, and that's Shakespearean. It's a quote from As You Like It. Yeah, it is. And a candle waster in Tudor times, candles were as expensive as our energy, our lighting and heat are. You know, they were precious. And a candle waster was just a terrible party person who needed to be thrown out of the society. So I thought, that's a great name. I won't give you the line. I could do, but I won't give you the line. But it's in As You Like It anyway.
Nice,
So that's.
So do you gig with your band?
Unfortunately, obviously moving away from Birmingham has kind of put the kibosh on it, really. But it had kind of started to slow down anyway, really. But we're still creative. I'm still writing now, you know, and Mick is in a bit of a trough creatively at the moment.
But you're in another band now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm just getting something off the ground at the moment with local lads. Yeah, the second time I've tried that. I think it's the second time or third time, whatever. I joined a band on bass from the employability course. A guy was looking for gigging, and Roy, of course, said, "Well, I'll put you on some shows, no problem." Then he said, "Oh God, the bass player's left." So I said, "Well, I play rhythm guitar, but I can probably depth for you if you want." He said, "Yeah." So I spent a year playing bass in a band, which I really enjoyed. And then that kind of finished, and I then created or tried to create a new band, which was, I played the weekend at the festival last year with that band who were called The Coalition. Hi guys. That ran its course, and now I'm just trying to create something else now. But
that's just in the embryo stages. This new one.
That's right. Yeah.
But you're looking to gig with those?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Can't wait to hear your music. What kind of music are you going to do?
Well, they're all covers, really experienced covers musicians, really, but they want to create. And so often we say people don't get the chance to do that. And I've got a catalogue of music that I want to get out there, you know.
Right,
so that's the way.
You've got some.
I'm trying to build it around the covers to start with. So it's there's a lot of blues involved. There's Stevie Ray Vaughan and stuff like that. Just that we're working on.
You're going to get in the studio and record and
some classic tracks, like, you know, as well. And I'd like to. Yeah, for sure. I'd really like to do that. Record some of the original material, definitely. Yeah. So that's my life.
Yeah, sounds amazing.
Big Condo.
Yeah, big Condo.
That's something else that's happened that would never happen otherwise.
And it's just nice to, you know, you don't have to be young to kind of be pursuing music or your interests. It's just, I'd love to see people that have just still, what their interests are, and they're still pursuing it and they're not holding back. And
definitely.
And that's like, as a mentor you're a mentor to us, and to see you still pursuing what keeps the fire roaring inside. It's like don't give up.
But that's the artistic world, isn't it? You know, and the art never ends, does it? Art never ends.
No.
Your creative juices may dry up at some point, who knows? But I'm happy that
while the fire's still roaring.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the moment, as well as your band, you're concentrating on the radio show.
Radio is great for me. I love the show. I really do. And what we do is we give the young, you know, not young necessarily, but certainly new bands of whatever age, but new bands the opportunity to be played on radio. In Islington, of all places, which is where the Open Anchor is, funnily enough.
Yeah, well, how did that come about? How come you linked with Islington?
We were doing it in Liverpool to start with, and they basically heard the show and said, "Can we syndicate your show?" Which was huge, you know, massive.
Amazing.
So it goes out on Islington Radio at the moment.
Where would you like to take that? Would you like
nationally? Why not? It's only an hour-long show once a week.
And it's pre-recorded.
It's pre-recorded. One day I would like to progress to being live.
Being live, I think I remember you saying about that. Yeah, that's what I was kind of getting at.
That's kind of my ambition. I don't know if or how that could ever come about, but I would like to do that.
Yeah.
I know we got close. This is actually a second show I've done. I did a show with Chase Johnston Lynch. Hey Chase, shout out.
We love Chase.
We do, which was film and music, a 2-hour show once a week in Liverpool, a Liverpool radio station, which was a chat show about different directors we covered each week, and we picked out, say, 3 of their greatest films, pulled them apart, and I then included lots of music which was inspired by those films or featured in them or whatever, you know. And that was a great thing to do. I really enjoyed that. But again, pre-recorded, and we came close to doing that live. It never quite happened. But I'd like to do that at some point. That's something to work towards. Yeah.
Well, Phil, it's been an absolute pleasure. You're my mentor, so I love working with you anyway. But thank you very much for coming on to the Big Condo Records podcast.
Thank you.
We have Phil Beale. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure being this side of the interview for a change.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Hayley.
folks, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.